And I'll probably do 1.4 here. 1.3, they're going over the zero trust security model. It's pretty simple. The whole concept is trust nobody, and only give access on a need to know basis. So they talk about how the perimeter security model is an old model that's not really sufficient in today's modern attacks. You're only really enforcing policy at the perimeter, so you're not getting that internal visibility, that east-west traffic that they show on the diagram down here. So in the olden days, or even today, depending on your network, your only real place of enforcement would be from the internet inside the network. So right here where this firewall is. And now they're saying, we need to isolate east-west traffic. So that might be, in this case, your PCI zone from your DMZ zone. So you can see the logs and apply policies as far as who can access what and when they can access it. So by inside, they also talk about how that is not just, people located physically in that office. Those would be remote employees, partners, wireless users, branch offices, et cetera, et cetera. So those all obviously need to be secured too. Palo would probably suggest Global Protect or some SD-WAN fun stuff to do that. But that is something that needs to be factored into the security model. They also talk about how most attacks are done on endpoints, compromised endpoints. It's not necessarily someone just hacking in from the outside. It's a compromised endpoint that then allows lateral movement within the network. So that's really essentially 1.3 here in a nutshell. They kind of go into more, more of the concepts here. It shows that Zero Trust has three main concepts. The first one being everything needs to be enforced, right? So, phones, laptop users. I'm sure people that's suggesting people using VPNs and such stuff like that. Anything remote. Access controls based on a need to know basis. They say how WikiLeaks is one of the historical attacks that was exploited by this. And finally, all traffic is logged and inspected. So this is not just the north-south traffic, this is also east-west. So it's not a hard concept, it's pretty basic, pretty standard. I don't expect many issues with this, but it's always good to freshen up. And 1.4 here. We're going to talk about the cyber attack life cycle and how Palo views the different life cycle stages. Their whole theory about this, and I'm sure it's not a theory, I'm sure it's probably fact, but in these stages, if you break just one of the stages, you have kept the entire attack from happening. So just by having one of these done right, that substantially lowers your chance for a successful attack. So the first part is reconnaissance. It's really just a matter of getting data, from either websites or even just doing it like something like a port scan of your own to determine what IPs, what ports are open. Just kind of get an idea of what is out there. On your attack. Could be finding somebody's email out. Could be determining, hey, this website talks on port 80 and it has this vulnerability applied to it according to the internet or whatever scans you're doing. The second part is weaponization. This really is when the attackers are trying to form the payload and determining, hey, how do I get this to the end user. So is it going to be a PDF? Is it going to be a doc file? What's it going to be? And preparing that transition. Delivery is the actual transmission from the outside to the inside of the network here. And if you follow along here on the stages, it'll show you kind of where this attack is happening. So this is the actual delivery from the outside to the inside. Could be, you know, something like a phishing attack. Could be that's probably the most the most common one. Could be sent into your network in some other unsecure way, but that is the delivery portion. The exploitation is where they're actually deploying an exploit against the vulnerable software. This happens inside the network, inside they say the data center. I would just say inside the network somewhere. And this is where that malware attacks the software vulnerability. Installation. This is where, you know, some sort of malware tool is installed, such as rootkit or remote access tool. This kind of keeps the gets whatever application actually on the machine that's going to give those attackers, you know, whatever information they need. Command and control. This is occurring inside the data center. Again, this is where you establish a secure, not necessarily secure, but this is where you would the attacker would create a communication to a server. So it's just calling out to some server, and that's where it may be transferring that important data. So you know, it could be going to a number of different servers. There's a URL filter for command and control. That's one of the options that you can block. So that's where they kind of mitigate that. And then actions on objectives. This is where it's really, you know, doing the attack. So it could be a denial of service attack, data exfiltration. It's hard to say. There's so many, but that is the life cycle in a nutshell, as best as I can explain it. And again, they're just reinforcing, hey, any stage here, if you can block it, you block the attack. If you've kept, you know, your patches up to date, you're not going to get exploited. Well, generally speaking, that's what you could use to lower the chance of being exploited. If you're locking down the proper ports, if you're doing, you know, analysis on who's sending you emails, you know, that's going to keep that from getting delivered. None of the stages beyond that would ever occur. And it also kind of shows you on the study guide what you can do to mitigate some of these steps. So delivery says, you know, you can prevent the delivery by getting full visibility into the traffic. SSL traffic being decrypted, that's something I didn't bring up, but that's something that would certainly help the delivery process if you can decrypt that traffic and get visibility into what is being transferred in those encrypted tunnels, especially now. That would substantially lower the chance of getting a malicious payload into your network. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I didn't show this in the earlier video, but this is literally just the PCNSA study guide that I'm going through. You can just Google it. This is version 10 right now. So that is pretty much it. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you.